and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. Fall into the arms of love. I fall into the arms of love.
So stay with me in that beautiful space of surrender, of falling into the arms of love. And join with me in knowing that there is only love. There is love that is that infinite source of all life. There is love that is that infinite source of all good. And recognizing and knowing that that love expresses through and as each one of us here today, and that love is the Victoria Truth Center. So as we join together to live life lovingly, what we do here is we simply reveal the truth. We simply reveal our truth and our hearts. We come together, we see the good in each other and the world. We honor the individualization of spirit of every person here. We join together to celebrate life, love, peace, and joy. We plant the seeds of love. We plant the seeds of more joy in our lives and for the world as one. So as we are made new in this recognition of spirit as love, I give such grateful thanks for this powerful truth. I surrender to it. I fall into the arms of love. I let it be so, and so it is.
Whoa! Listen to that volume. All right, we are still in the month of October. If you didn't know that already, it's still October. And our theme for October is harvest. So we are going to all stand up and we're going to get into our power pose, because when you stand like Superwoman and Superman, it actually does have an impact on your psyche, on your brain, on your connection to the world. So we're all going to read our statement together. By sowing seeds of compassion, curiosity, and love, I cultivate an atmosphere of possibility, connection, and growth. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. Once more with feeling. No, I'm kidding. We're going to give it back to Bob and Zoey, who are going to sing our feature song.
The falling leaves drift by the window. The falling leaves of red and gold. I see your lips, the summer kisses, the sunburned hands I used to hold. Since you went away, the days grow long, and soon I'll hear old winter song. But I miss you most of all, my darling, when autumn leaves start to fall. Since you went away, the days grow long, and soon I'll hear old winter song. But I miss you most of all, my darling. Autumn leaves start to fall.
That was beautiful and soulful. It likes to get on this drum. Okay. All right. I want to make sure I'm making every attempt to stay on track here. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Zoey. So now I get to introduce Reverend Amanda. And she is a familiar face to us, and we're glad to have her back. She is an advocate, educator, and New Thought minister. She and her partner, Derek, moved to Vancouver Island just a couple years ago, and they wanted to start a mid-island spiritual community, and that is called the Center for Spiritual Living, Nanaimo. She blends her passion for adult education, because we're all lifelong learners, and spirituality to create spaces that help people explore their inner spiritual wisdom. And she is our guest speaker today. So thank you, Amanda.
Well, hello, everyone. It's a joy to be back here. This is my third time here, and it feels like it wasn't very long since the last time. So lovely to be back. What the drive was not as lovely today, I'm going to say, but it is lovely to be here. So we are in the season of harvest. Did you all have a nice Thanksgiving? Was it lovely? Nice. We had a very, very special Thanksgiving. We have kids all across the country, and we had the opportunity to fly to Halifax, where my stepdaughter lives, and my son and his partner, who are in Toronto, met us there, and we had a beautiful family time, which for us doesn't happen all that often, so it was delightful. But what I did learn is that I am too old for popping over to Halifax for a weekend. So it's been a rough week, but it'll be better next week. So I wanted to talk today about harvest. And what I'm going to talk about is the space between planting the seed and then enjoying the plant. That space in between. Because we love in the New Thought movement a plant and seed metaphor. We love it. So we always talk about, we are the thinkers who think the thoughts. We plant a seed in mind, and then there is this spiritual law that makes it so, and the plant is the manifestation of our idea. Pretty simple, right? Yeah. Have you ever watched one of those videos or a nature show where they have the time lapse? So they have a seed, and then you see it opening, and it all happens quite quickly. And it's a beautiful thing, right? The seed, and then the little sprout pops up, and then the leaf opens, and then the others start to grow, and then we get the roots deepening, and it's a really lovely thing to watch like that. And I think we might live in a time-lapse society right now. Isn't it sort of, have you noticed that when you want something, let's even say, a coffee maker. My son bought a coffee maker today. So let's say you decide I need a coffee maker. 30, 40 years ago, that would have meant you would have needed to decide, okay, I need a coffee maker. You'd have to get in your car, you go to the store, and you have to make sure the store's open, because it's not going to be open on Saturday. It's probably open for about 10 till 5. If you work that day, you're really out of hooped. You got to wait till Saturday. You go to the store. You got to pay with cash. And if they're out of stock, you don't know until you get there. So then you got to drive to another store. And what happens now today when you want a coffee maker? You grab your phone, coffee maker. It shows up sometimes even in the same day. Is that a time lapse or what, hey? And I think a lot of what we're experiencing is actually that we've moved into this time lapse world. And unfortunately, it's fantastic for those things that we can do that with, but I think a lot of deep change and transformation requires that sort of gestation time. There is a lot that happens from the seed to the plant. So I was thinking about it, if we think about it with a farmer who is planting carrots. They go along and they put all those teeny tiny little seeds in the dirt, and then at the end of that, what do you see? Like just a mound of dirt, right? And so they have to come back and they got to keep that dirt, moist. I'm no farmer, by the way, so don't fact check this afterwards. They got to keep that moist, and they still, for several weeks, they don't see anything, but they got to keep that dirt moist. And then eventually this measly little sprout comes up, and then eventually some more leaves come up. But before they get that carrot, a whole lot of time passes. And they have to allow all of the conditions to grow that carrot. They don't grow the carrot. They allow the conditions, and they create the conditions so that that carrot can grow. But imagine if the farmer goes out, they plant the seeds, and they're like, sprinkle, sprinkle, here's some water, and come out the next day, and they're like, what the heck? Where are the carrots? And stomp it all out. No carrots, right? If they just abandon it and decide, I've been watering this for 2 weeks, what the heck is going on? No carrots. If they wait until that sprout comes up and then the first 2 leaves and they pull it out of the ground, what do they get? No carrots. In order to have a carrot, we have to plant a seed. We have to do the work involved. We have to wait. we have to be patient, and then eventually we get the carrot. And I'm not saying everything in life has to take 100 days from seed to plant or to carrot, but some things need to grow, especially those big, deep, meaningful changes in life. So it is not often I quote the Bible, but I'm going to do it today. It is not my jam, but this just seemed like the right moment. So Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." So when I think of harvest and that tending of the garden that we need to do as we have planted a seed and we are waiting for its growth, it's not our job to grow the seed. Spirit's got that. That seed has everything within it to fully become a carrot. Our job is to grow ourselves, because our experience in life is the experience we can embody. I have the relationship I can embody. I have the career I can embody. I have the friendships I can embody. What I need to do if I want a different experience is I need to grow, and I need to grow to a place where I can accept the love of a relationship, the connection of friendships, perhaps stepping into a bigger arena as far as our career goes. We have to grow ourselves in that space in between. And now if you remember, okay, I don't remember because I'm not a farmer, but in this, from what I understand, there is a lot that goes into this tending the garden. There is manure that gets thrown into there. There are giant, disgusting slugs. I come from the Okanagan. We had those really ugly tomato worms that are massive and gross. All of that is part of that tending of the garden. We need to pull out the weeds. We need to yank out the disgusting slugs. We need to nourish the soil with manure. That's the in-between time. And unfortunately, what that often feels like in life is not at all like the seed we planted. And in fact, when we plant a seed, because we say, okay, this is what I want to experience in my life, we get all of the slugs that need to be cleared out of the way. And so often things get worse before we experience the thing we're growing into. So the key in that is that we have to stay clear and we have to stay with it. Because I think a lot of people start to see things getting worse and think, oh my gosh, that's not what we wanted. That's not what I wanted, and it actually feels worse than what I started with, so I'll just go back to my old way of thinking, being. But the key is staying and having the clarity and the focus. I have planted a seed, and that seed is going to grow. And so what I need to do is I need to transform myself into a person who has a carrot. And so I am an adult educator, so I'm going to bring in a little adult education nerdiness today. So Jack Mezirow has a theory on transformative education. So you can educate somebody. If I want to teach somebody, we have an accountant here. If I want to teach accounting, well, you get your textbook, you do here's the debits and the credits, and you learn that, you practice it, you write a test, now you can do accounting. When we want to be transformed, that is a whole different thing. When we want to learn something and grow, and Jack Mezirow kind of gave language to this idea of personal transformation. And he said what it often happens is it starts with something called a disorienting dilemma. So that kind of means here I am happily living my life in my comfort zone. I'm there, it's warm, it's nice, everything's familiar in my comfort zone. And then spirit puts inside me a desire, because I am an individualization of spirit. And then I say, ooh, I think I'd like to live a more wholehearted life. Great, let's plant that seed, cover it over, sprinkle some water. Then the next day I wake up, and somebody from my long past, an unhealed wound, shows up. And I'm like, what's going on here? I thought I was done with that. Some relationship challenges bubble up. And I'm like, what the heck? Wholehearted living is my plan. And all of these things make me very uncomfortable. And I want to run back to my comfort zone over here and say, never mind, I'll just live like this. Thank you, wholehearted isn't all it's cracked up to be. It was nice while it lasted. I'm back here in my comfort zone. But if we can go through that, my teacher used to say that Spirit loves you so much that it will drag you through cheesecloth to your desires. And it's that dragging through cheesecloth that is quite uncomfortable, painful, raw, vulnerable, and downright horrible some days. So if we remember, though, that our job is not to grow the seed, our job is to grow ourselves, and we settle into that place of knowing what our work is, we get comfortable with the discomfort. So in Jack Mesereau's theory of transformative learning, we get this disorienting dilemma. So basically, I've been living my life, I see the world this way, everything matches that, and then boop, something challenges my worldview, and life gets really uncomfortable. And I can either blame it on other people, tamp it down, go and medicate myself so I don't feel it, or if I step into it, what it requires is this breaking down and questioning of all of my beliefs, all of the ways I hadn't healed very old past stuff, all of the ways I had not spoken up for myself, all of the ways where I was like, this is my truth, but maybe I just won't mention it. I have to look at that and the whole idea that, but I was keeping the peace. Or was I being dishonest? I have to start looking at it critically. And then when I do that, all of my sort of old patterns and beliefs start to crumble. So that disorienting dilemma, that discomfort now is grief, shock, disillusionment. There's all that happens in there. And then what happens is from that place of allowing and surrendering those old beliefs, we develop a new way of looking in the world. And we start to see things through a different light. And that often happens in connection with others. Could be at a musical workshop, and it's in this way that we come together and we are open. And we say, okay, I want to look at the world differently. And we build up this new perspective. And as we do that, we then have this phase where we re-enter the world with this new perspective. So my seed of wanting to live this wholehearted, very truthful, authentic life is dragging me through the cheesecloth of, okay, remember all those things you didn't say to all those people in your past? Here they are. Here's your opportunity to do it different. And in that, build up this new way of being so that I can re-enter the world, so that my new relationships I have a new way of being in them. And again, when we are allowing our personal transformation, the other thing we need to do is allow others to transform as well. Because if we're going to have a different world, we have to transform ourselves, allow other people to transform. So it takes this patience, this compassion, this curiosity. It takes us opening to the potential, the possibility. And it takes pulling out some big, ugly, disgusting slugs. And if we were to look out in the world right now, I would guess that the world has planted a seed for a new way forward, and we have some big, ugly slugs that we are currently pulling out of our garden. So we have a choice as humanity. We have a choice in our own personal lives. Do I keep pulling these slugs, or do I jump back into my comfort zone and live in that more limited space? And that is the key of the tending the garden. Ernest Holmes said, "The spiral of life is upward. Evolution carries us forward, not backward. Eternal and progressive expansion is its law, and there are no breaks in its continuity. So life is moving forward. Our comfort zone is here. We either get to move with it, or we get to sit and build resentment and frustration and anger and medicate ourselves and stay stuck in our comfort zone, or we get to invite ourselves into the possibility. We get to listen to the desire that's placed in our heart by Spirit, that divine wisdom. We get to plant that seed, and then we get to pull out the slugs, water the soil, make sure we have the conditions to grow the carrot. So I have a beautiful example that I just saw very recently about this. And I'm going to try and tell the story without crying. So somebody who's very special to me in my life, who I met 8 years ago, had done something that was just not done in her family. So she's a young Muslim woman, and she fell in love with a white boy. And that was not done in her family. And not only did she didn't fall in love with a white Christian boy, it was worse. She fell in love with a white boy who's an atheist. Now, people who are devoutly religious, they can kind of get their heads around, oh, you have a different religion, but you are godless? Like, that is not cool. So needless to say, in the early days, it did not go well. But this young woman had planted a seed of what about a world where I can love my white atheist person, and I can be a part of my family and connected, and we can all open and transform into a new place. So 8 years ago, that seed was planted. And through that time, there have been some big, ugly slugs. There's been a lot of manure. There's been watering. There's been more pulling of weeds. And that what happened yesterday was the culmination of tending that garden. And it was that her white atheist partner and her dad had their first meeting, and it went beautifully well. And she tended this garden, and she got her carrot. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And talking to her yesterday, she was saying, I had to grow. Looking back, this couldn't have happened at any other time. But I also had to let my dad grow. We all had to grow. We had to have the compassion, the kindness, the grace, the willingness to kind of break down all those old, rigid patterns of thinking. And had she forced it, she had so many options. She could just run away from her family and abandon them, but she didn't. She kept showing up through these really difficult times where, it was contentious. She kept showing up, and she really sort of kept it to herself. She kept her lives separate until such a time that the carrot was ready to be pulled. Isn't that beautiful? And we're talking about someone very young, and just to have that wisdom, that grace, I think is such a beautiful example of that. So, and I see it in the world. I work in the world of access and inclusion for people with disabilities. And, for 15 years, when I first started, I was like, we're never going to. I sat with colleagues who were like, people with disabilities can't be pilots. People with disabilities can't be nurses. And that's where we were 15 years ago. And you know what? Today, the world has changed. I am a person with a disability. I teach a class full of lots of people with disabilities who are going to care for people with disabilities. We live in a different world. That garden, that seed was planted. We pulled the slugs and the weeds, and we're in this new place. So I would love to leave you all with a couple of questions. One, in your own life, do you see some areas where you've just been feeling, I don't know what the word for that is, but and you maybe that is a seed that's planted that just needs some slugs pulling right now? Or have you an example that you've experienced in your own life? And you see that in your community and in the world right now. Where are we on that journey? And what's the transformation that you can do? So those are the seeds I've planted for this morning. So we're going to move into our discussion time, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. So thank you. So, did you talk about slugs? Anybody identify some carrots or some seeds that were planted? Yeah, good. Well, thanks for going on that journey with me too. So this is the opportunity now where you have the opportunity to support the community, where you get to wrestle with all those spiritual ideas, find that personal inner transformation, tap into divine wisdom. Oh my gosh, there's some incredibly cute kids here. Sorry. And support this community. So let's share this affirmation together. In gratitude, I give. In gratitude, I receive. By embracing generosity with enthusiasm and delight, I celebrate the infinite possibilities of living life lovingly. And so it is. And there are many ways that you can support living life lovingly. By e-transfer, there is a credit card terminal at the back. By cash or check. I don't know if they take Bitcoin, but they will take your abundance however it comes. So let's join together in a closing prayer. So I just want to express gratitude. Gratitude for this time together. Gratitude for Spirit's inspiration in our hearts and our lives. Gratitude for all the energy and enthusiasm that has brought this moment, that has supported the Victoria Truth Center, that has guided each person here together, that has allowed me the opportunity to share with you, and that has allowed you that opportunity to remember the truth of your divine being. And so knowing that this is all done, knowing that this is supported by Spirit in, as, and through each one of you and Reverend Lesia here, I just release my word knowing it is done, and this is a beautiful day, and it is all good. And so it is. Thank you.
Time for announcements. All right. So after today's service, there will be a healing circle right here. So if you are in need of healing, some connection, Reverend Lesia and Carolyn will be here conducting the healing circle starting at 12:15. We have the Community Envisioning Forum. Now, I attended the first one of these and it was really amazing. And so I was going to ask a show of hands, does everybody know how visioning works and what visioning is? Who needs a definition of visioning? You guys all know what visioning is. Yes, right? Yes. Nodding heads? Yes. I don't see any heads nodding, so I'm going to have a little conversation. So, have you ever been in a job, or you had a group of friends, or you were part of an organization, and you loved being part of that organization, or you loved those friends, or you loved that class, but you thought, wouldn't it be neat if we could try this? Or, I'm not sure why we are continuing to do this. And you felt like you were full of really interesting ideas about how to improve the class, the organization, the group of friends. So imagine getting together with a group of people who are having the exact same thoughts as you about the very same thing, but you come together with a spirit of intent and openness, and you all have this really amazing conversation where you get to share all those ideas, because I can guarantee you that you're probably thinking along the same lines. So this opportunity is where you come together Wednesday, October 23rd, and you get to come together and have that conversation and contribute your ideas and your thoughts about how to make this an even more awesome space. So it's a really wonderful experience. I encourage all of you to sign up for it. We do have a sign-up sheet right here, and you can put your name on it after the session. Radiate. That's going to be the last Friday of this month, and I am not is it this Friday? Are we at the end of October already? Holy camole. Okay, so a nervous system reset with guest host Joe Hugo, and I'm going to have Lesia come up because I'm not sure I could articulate what that means.
It's going to be a love fest. So Joanne is asking us to bring our yoga mats, pillows, and blankets, and we're all going to lay on the floor here and just radiate from within as we regulate our nervous systems individually and as a group. I know Joanne, outside of this space, she has also been at Radiate a few times where she has done a meditation which has been absolutely beautiful and divine and sacred, and people just go places in her presence. So this is going to be a very nourishing, beautiful, connective experience. So if you don't have plans for this Friday night, 7 to 8:30 here, bring your yoga mat, pillows, a blanket, and just get ready to be loved up from within. That's what it's going to be about.
Thank you, Lesia. And so it is. Lesia is going to be hosting a class, The Art and Science of Effective Affirmative Prayer, which is, as you all know, is very central to New Thought. So it's going to be offered over 8 classes online, 3 classes in November, 3 classes in December, and 2 in January. So you get to stretch it all out. We have a sign-up sheet here, and I'm sure if anybody has questions, they can ask you. I'm going to hand this back to Zoey. She and Bob will set themselves up for our closing song.
Here we go. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friend. I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay, blessings. Bless your neighbor for the week ahead. Blessings for today. Giving blessings. Let's do it again. Here we go. Oh, nice. Here we go. Yeah. Thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. Thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. My love filled, my love filled, my love filled life. My love filled, my love filled, my love filled life. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Saying thank you. Oh, thank you. I'm saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you all for your patience as we tried to troubleshoot some slugs on the TV. We'll get the carrot next time. Everybody have a great weekend. And if you're staying for the Healing Circle, I see some little snacks over here. And if you have questions about Zoey's class, she's right here. Sign-up sheets are over here. If you need anything, just ask anybody. Blessings.